For the view from the other side, Republican Congresswoman Michele Bachmann out of Minnesota, my guest now from the Hill. Good morning to you, and welcome back to America's Newsroom. What's Dick Durbin talking about there? Make sense of that.
Well, Durbin got off the talking points. He's telling the truth. America's premiums will go up, Bill, as well as taxes, and it's going to be a massive job loss of about 5.5 million jobs lost, according to Christina Romer, the president's chief economic advisor.
But I thought the whole idea was to bring the cost down, right? I mean, I think most Americans, when they look at this debate from the outside, they think health care is going to get better. Are you saying it's not?
Well, no, as I said, massive tax increases. It will come primarily through the form of increased premiums, and that's the #1 issue that Americans have. They think their premiums are too high. They want them to lower. So that's going to happen. Jobs lost plus $500 billion taken out of Medicare. So it's a lot of pain with very little gain.
A simple math question. Hang on to that $500 billion number you just mentioned, too. If we're going to provide insurance for 30 million additional Americans, where are we getting the money to pay for that?
Well, what will happen is we'll have reduced care, and that will lead directly to rationing of care. If you're pulling $500 billion out of the system, putting 30 million more people in, and no more doctors or health care professionals, then there's only one thing that can give, and that's the number of appointments, the number of procedures, and the quality of care.
So you believe rationing is the result of that? I don't know if that's going to happen or not. You know, I listen to arguments on all the different sides here. I don't know what the reality is. But I wonder about this. How many times in the past has Congress cut money out of Medicare? And do you believe they will ever cut $500 billion out of the program?
Well, that's what the president is proposing to make his numbers work. He may not. He may choose not to. But again, he'll be adding more to the deficit. The ` concern of Americans right now, Bill, as you know, is out-of-control spending and the deficit. We're now looking at a $1.6 trillion deficit, the largest we've ever had. February was the largest month of deficits, well over $200 billion in 1 month. And so Americans are very concerned about that. I think the president will be in a very difficult place. You can only raise taxes so much, and now China isn't keen on buying our debt anymore. So it's going to be very difficult going forward with all of this out-of-control spending.
Time interrupt you. Go ahead. Time Magazine, what? Finish your point.
Time Magazine reported that that President Obama's spending will lead to a doubling of tax rates within 10 years. That's before health care passes. So if President Obama decides not to pull $500 billion out of Medicare, he has to get that money somewhere. And if you can imagine doubling taxes in 10 years, that will bring our economy to a standstill.
I want to shift our focus here to this story that's still bubbling out there today regarding a former member of the House, Massa. I don't know what's been reported. I don't know when it was reported. I don't know what Nancy Pelosi knew or her staff knew or did not know. What is your view based on what you're hearing and how that was handled?
Well, I think the view that we have seen all along is that all of these deals are being struck behind closed doors, and that was the same with Representative Massa, although it appears it was in the men's shower. And so I think it's important that Americans have confidence in the legislation that's coming forward, and when they know that members of Congress's votes were gained after their arms were twisted and broken and after they were bought off, that's not going to engender a lot of confidence in this bill.
But Massa has resigned, which leads some people to think that the investigation is null and void. Is it, or do you believe there's still a probe out there that's justified?
Well, the last news is that the Speaker decided to shut down the probe of Representative Massa, and now Republicans are saying, look, if there was a real problem here, you need to see it all the way through. It remains to be seen what the Speaker will do. Instead, they're deciding to go forward with waving a magic wand and trying to have the House vote on a bill without actually voting on it.
You know what Massa said? He said they kicked him to the curb because he was going to vote against health care. But he also said 2 or 3 other things as to why he got out and why he resigned. In a way, you wonder what you can believe from this guy. You think about that?
Well, that's what a probe would uncover and get to the bottom of it. And I think that the story has been a fairly big story, and people, I think, ultimately want to know what happened there. But more importantly, people want to know what are these behind closed doors deals. Remember, This is a bill that no one has seen the final language of yet. So we're being asked to vote on a bill that no one's able to read, and we don't know what these deals are. That's why we've been calling for transparency. Please, could we negotiate in public? And it hasn't happened yet.
Well, we'll see what they emerge a bit later today. We believe there'll be some sort of press conference after this House Democratic meeting wraps up. Just to put a fine point on this Massa deal, we're trying to figure out whether or not the investigation is ongoing or whether it's closed. Chad Pergram works the House side for us on Capitol Hill. You know Chad, and he's saying that his sources are telling him that the Ethics Committee has not closed the door on this just yet. If that's the case, there could be more to come. We shall see, and we wait for that. Michele Bachmann, thank you for your time this morning from Washington.
Thanks, Bill.
All right.